If you haven't heard what's going on with the Tampa Bay real estate market yet, you've came to the right place. Let's go to the board. So today we're talking about a lot of headlines and how that could affect you and your decision to start or enhance your real estate career in 2025. But the first headline that I have to share with you is the January home report from Tampa. And so some surprising statistics came in with a 7.9% increase in single-family home sales. And one of the big reasons, or at least in my opinion, why we're seeing this increase, because an 8% increase, it might not sound like a whole lot, but it is substantial. It is a huge step in the direction of more sales, especially considering the high interest rates that we still have in the market. But what you are seeing moving is not necessarily interest rates, but you're seeing pricing stabilizing. Pricing that has been relatively flat. Maybe a couple points one way or the other, but that's because overall since 2020, the Tampa Bay area has increased overall about 58% in home values. And until we see interest rates dropping to bring affordability more in the range for more people, you're going to continue to see relatively flat sales because there is still a demand for real estate in Tampa. There is still people moving here, and I've got some other stats to share with you in just a minute that's going to double down on that idea that people are still moving here, and it has to deal with the rental side and what's going on over there. But that increase in 7.9% is absolutely huge. The median price point right now in the Tampa Bay area is around $394,000, and it's been hovering in that range. And so that's giving a lot of people faith that, okay, let me make the purchase now. Let me try to wait out the interest rate so that way I could refinance. And that is probably the biggest reason why we're seeing prices increase right now. Now, my second headline is specifically focusing on the St. Petersburg market, and specifically how St. Petersburg is actually leading the nation in home ownership. Over the last decade, home ownership has increased by almost 8%, putting it now at 63.1%, far above the national ownership rate for the country. So that is huge, and I know this firsthand. I have a close friend that actually bought his first home in St. Petersburg. And there's a lot of opportunity there. There are more affordable options for what people are looking for a lot of times compared to, say, in Tampa. So it's a great market for finding that first-time home ownership. And that's the thing right now, is that you've got to be creative, not just in where you're looking to buy a property, but also how you're going about it. And that's where real estate professionals can still be extremely valuable, really more valuable than ever, especially in the first-time home buyer market. So a lot of opportunities going on in St. Pete, but also Tampa, not far behind with first-time home buyer statistics. Now, my next headline, there's a lot of activity going on still with apartments. There's a lot of new apartment inventory that's continuing to hit the market, and we're even seeing rental rates starting to rise again. They leveled off for a little bit, but now they're starting to increase again. And it actually specifically puts the rental markets in Tampa and St. Pete very highly throughout the entire country's rankings. So there's a lot of new inventory that's coming out, but yet rents are still raising. Well, what that means is that there is significant demand, because they wouldn't be able to raise the rents if they had vacant units. And they don't have vacant units as a fact. They can't build the units fast enough, because there's a lot of demand for people to live in Tampa for various reasons, not just Tampa, the entire Tampa Bay area, St. Pete, and all the surrounding markets as well. But St. Petersburg specifically for the rental market, and this is maybe what's pushing more people in that market as well into home ownership, but in St. Petersburg, it ranks 14th in the nation and number 4 in the South. And again, Tampa is not too far behind, 27th nationally for the rental market. And there's a lot of opportunities on the rental side as well. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some rentals, especially, the one-off single-family home rental type of deals where maybe the commission, the rental agent commission, is a pre-negotiated $50 from the seller, which you might be thinking big deal, and if I was in your shoes before looking at those same things. Like, is this even worth my time showing this rental where I'm only going to make $50 on? And it depends really on the stage of your real estate career, because remember, you should never turn away business. You should only ever refer it away. And also for $50, I mean, there's not really much to refer away at that point. But here's the reason why you would want to make that appointment, why you would want to do that showing, why you would want to serve that client despite only making $50. Because here's the thing, if you really need to make more than $50, you can have an agreement, a commission agreement with your potential tenant to pay you, maybe it's $100, maybe it's $200, maybe it's something for your services, so you're earning something other than just this $50 the landlord might have agreed to pay you. But here's also the thing. There's a lot of opportunities, especially in these new development apartments, where they might be paying half a month's rent, a month's rent, 2 months' rent. I've even seen, and these are the unicorns, I've only seen this like once, but 3 times the rent. Meaning that if the rent's $2,000, you're getting $6,000 or 3 times the rent. If it's a 3 times the rent commission situation. Now you might be wondering, well, what is the commission? It depends. It depends what that developer, that apartment community is offering. And how do you find out? You just call them up. You call them up, talk to the right person, and find out if they have a real estate professional incentive program for you to bring them potential tenants. And so, at the end of the day, you can't force somebody to rent one of the units that pays you a high commission. If at the end of the day they want that single-family home where you're only going to make $50, maybe you then whip out that commission agreement and make them give you some money for it. Or maybe you say, hey, you know what, this is only going to pay me $50. You know, for me, it's not about the money with you. It's about the relationship. And here's the thing. I know that you're not going to stay in this rental forever. I know we already talked about rent ownership and we ruled that out right now, but you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, when that time is right, I would be honored if you would use me as the professional to represent you in that transaction. And to help get you there, I'm going to follow up with you, blah, 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 all the other things you'll do in the meantime. But point being that you're doing this not for the $50 or whatever the commission you earn. Even if you're earning a few $1,000s for the rental commission, imagine how much that sale commission could be. Because if they buy a $330,000 house, which $330,000, that's below the median price point, but at 3%, that's a $10,000 commission. And unless you're doing commercial transaction, you're not getting $10,000 commissions from rent, typically. Maybe it's a multi-million-dollar rental, and then maybe it's a $10,000 commission. But point being, the opportunities are out there, not just in sales, but on the rental market as well. People want to still live in the Tampa Bay area. They might not be able to buy right now, but they absolutely need a place to live, and that's where rentals come in. This could be somebody who is a first-time home buyer, or it could be somebody who had a low interest rate. They had to sell because they're relocating for whatever reason, maybe work or otherwise, and they're waiting for interest rates to drop. And so that might be the reason why you see people renting as well there. Now, this is just one of the many changes that have happened in the real estate market over the last year or so. Some of the bigger changes affecting more so real estate professionals has related to the NAR settlement, the NAR lawsuit, the MLS changes, the requirement of buyer brokerage agreements, all this kind of funneled into from one thing. But ultimately, long story short, it has changed the way real estate is done. And a lot of real estate agents don't like change. A lot of real estate agents, rather than adapt to change, chose to leave the real estate industry. And that is one of the stark differences between the market we're in now compared to the market we had in 2022. In 2022, it seemed like there was an overabundance of real estate agents. And there wasn't. There was still plenty of business to go around. You could look at the numbers, do the math, and there absolutely was. But no question about it, there were more people then. More people that wanted to cash in, get rich quick. But the problem is, when the market's moving that fast, it's very difficult to learn. It's very difficult to jump in to a raging river and be able to swim to the other side, especially if you're an inexperienced swimmer. If you've never swam before and you jump into a raging river trying to get to the other side, high likelihood you don't make it to that other side. So how do you make it to the side? Well, number one, if you've got a slower river, it's going to be easier. So with higher days on market where properties take longer to transact, that is going to give you less time is of the essence stress. Because now it's not like you got to get an offer in within a couple hours, otherwise that property will be gone and your offer's got to be better than the other 50 offers out there. It's a much more normal market that we have now, which absolutely is easier to learn it. But there's also a changing market. There's these changes where now, rather than being able to look up the commission in the MLS, you have to contact the listing agent directly to be able to do that. So it does create a more person-to-person, professional type of business that, again, for agents that weren't willing to adapt, they maybe retired, they maybe went back to their old job, they maybe found some new passion, they're maybe doing something online that maybe was extremely lucrative. Who knows what it is that they ended up doing. But the point being, there's a stark difference to where now it almost seems like there is a scarcity of real estate agents, especially when you're looking for a professional that really knows their stuff. So if you could be that professional who knows their stuff, you will stand out immediately and instantly. And that's the opportunity right now. No longer is this a game of, well, someone's been doing it for 20, 30 years, so they obviously are just going to gobble up all the business. No, because those same agents had to completely reposition and readjust their business. So it's really anybody's game right now, and the changes continue to happen. This is one of many. All these lawsuit ones, this is one of many different changes that happen every single day in the real estate market. So the point being, if you're able to be adaptable, if you're able to be coachable, if you're able to be trainable, and you could focus on working smarter as opposed to working harder, you could make this a very lucrative endeavor for yourself. So a lot of opportunities in the rental market, but let's switch to the other end of the spectrum to where the commissions are sometimes the biggest, and that's in luxury real estate. Maybe commercial could top this out, and industrial special purpose types of properties and whatnot. You might have some higher value transactions, but there's been some big luxury sales that have happened in the past month. The luxury market is actually heating up right now. Now you might be wondering, why is the luxury market specifically heating up? Well, if you think of the buyer that's buying a house like we may see here, a waterfront, multi-million-dollar property, great big yacht out front, this is a high net worth individual. And a high net worth individual does not get to that position of high net worth by accident, typically. It does happen. Sometimes they get there by accident, but the thing is they usually can't hold on to it if they get there by accident. So for people to be able to keep that high net worth, they have to make smart decisions. And making smart decisions is part of knowing the timing of making smart decisions. And if you could time your smart decisions, you could make them even smarter decisions. And so while right now we may have really high interest rates that may price most people out of the home that they desire, and you might look at a home like this and say, how could anyone possibly desire something more than this? And there's plenty. There's houses that'll make this one look like a little shack. But my point being is that there's high net worth individuals that can afford multi-million-dollar properties that are making moves and doing so at a higher frequency, especially over the previous month. There's been sales that topped out in the Tampa Bay area as high as $8 million in just February. And lots of transactions in the multi-million-dollar range that occurred. And you're seeing the days on market for these more luxury listings shrinking, because a luxury listing will almost always have a longer days on market because there's less people at the top of the pyramid that can afford this type of property. So it takes longer to reach them, typically. Sometimes it happens right away. Sometimes they sell quickly. But overall, being a luxury agent, you're usually looking at longer days on market compared to a more average price point, that $394,000 median price point we have right now. So in that range, properties are going to sell close to the normal market conditions. Right now, we're looking maybe 30, 45 days, depending on where exactly it's located. A property like this, you might have 6 months, a year, sometimes even multiple years. But when it pays, it pays. Because, you take an $8 million transaction. That was the top price point, $8 million there back in February. So $8 million, when we multiply that by 3%, that's almost $250,000 in commission. That's $240,000 for that $8 million property. In one sale, one commission, one transaction. So those huge paydays can make your year. One $240,000 commission. But what if you do a couple of these? And is that unreal? No. I know agents personally that are making over $1 million a year in commission. They're hustlers. They work hard. They make it look easy, but they've got a lot going on. And it absolutely is possible. And it's that much easier if you could master the luxury market. Does take a little bit more finesse. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit longer close time, typically compared to a more average price point property. But for $8 million for a $240,000 commission, that's worth the wait, at least in my book. And the thing about real estate, the business is what you make of it. So if you want to become a luxury agent, you could do training on being a luxury agent and become a luxury agent. It's not just about training. It's about putting that training into action. It's about networking. It's about expanding your sphere. It's about being well-versed in properties like this. It's about expanding your connections. It's being able to expanding your marketing, be able to improve your marketing. So many different things, but if done correctly, you could show value, whether that's a first-time home buyer or somebody buying a multi-million-dollar luxury estate. So a lot of opportunity that's going on in the real estate market right now. 2025 is a great year to get started. Like I said, the market isn't raging super fast where properties are going under contract within a couple days, which that might make you seem like, oh, is now the right time to get into real estate? And yes, because those days of markets of properties going under contract within days, that will come again. The market happens in cycles. This is something you learn about in your post-licensing course. You learn about market cycles, and it's a lot easier to get started in a market cycle like we're in right now than if you try to jump in when the current is raging. So you get in now, you learn the ropes, you build a strong business, and then as the market picks up, your business will pick up right along with it instead of trying to start from scratch when everybody else already has everything figured out. So if you want to find out about the opportunities, we actually have a very special event that's happening on March 22nd, and we've got some great vendors that are going to be here at this event. And these vendors, they're different brokerages, different recruiters that have all kinds of different opportunities, not just for new, but also experienced agents as well. So whether you're a brand new agent or you've been doing this for years, we absolutely welcome you to the career fair. Even if you don't even have a real estate license yet, come on down, find out, learn about real estate, learn about the opportunities, talk to the recruiters, find out what you have to do to get started, find out the steps, speak with our advisors, talk to your instructor, talk to me if you're taking the online course. You have questions for me or you just want to say hello and shake my hand, come on down. You want to talk to any of our other instructors, they'll be in attendance. Almost all of our advisors will be here. This is going to be a great event. We have Mark Spain Real Estate is going to be here. Wyndham Grand Vacations, if you want to get into timeshare, vacation ownership type of things, they'll be here where you can learn about those opportunities. There's a lot of timeshare opportunities here in Florida, and they can be extremely lucrative, and they're not all just scams and schemes. So absolutely, there's legitimate opportunities out there. Maybe that's for you, maybe it's not. You could at least ask some questions and talk to them. Go visit their booth. We've got Lifestyle Realty, I believe, is confirmed for this event. Impact Realty, a great local Tampa brokerage. Also Epic Realty, another great local Tampa real estate brokerage. There's Trinity Real Estate Group is going to be here. Who else do we have? I think I'm forgetting somebody here. You could find out all of our vendors right now, and actually there's even a few more I think that we've added since then that are not on there, but FloridaRealEstateCareerFair.com is the place to find all the information. And what most importantly you want to do on this website, Florida Real Estate Career Fair, the date and time, March 22nd, 12 to 2, but you got that information. So you could get that again just visiting this, or most important thing you can do on this page is get registered, because right now we have limited free registration for this career fair. This is FloridaRealEstateCareerFair.com. Name, email, and phone number. Just pop it in right there, and you'll be on the list to get free access. This is happening in our Tampa office here to meet all of these brokers and recruiters, and also being able to network with the new, the experienced, and aspiring real estate agents that'll be in attendance at this event. So you can expand your sphere of influence, so you could tap into referrals, so you could grow your real estate business, because the more connections you have, the more lucrative this business can be. And that's the one thing that's the common denominator. There's a lot of other things that matter as well, but more connections will always help you produce better and greater results. So come to the career fair. But the career fair is a 2-hour event really to learn about these opportunities that exist there. But it's up to you to be able to access these opportunities. And the first thing you've got to do if you don't yet have one is get a real estate license, because pretty much every opportunity that will be there at this career fair, at least the most lucrative ones, are going to require a real estate license, because in order to earn compensation based on transactions, the state of Florida requires you to have a real estate license. Now, we have a new way you could go about earning that real estate license. And it's not really a new course. It's a new way of accessing our best-selling courses. So we just launched something called TSRE Plus. And specifically what I'm sharing with you here is our TSRE Pro plan, which is only $77 a month, but we have also a select plan where you can select access to one course for only $47 a month. So the cost to get in here to get access to this is very minimal. And you can either select access to one of these courses or, again, get all access for just $77 a month. But where you would start out, if you haven't already, is with the pre-licensing course. This is your laws, your rules, your very basic of the most basic, and what's most important for your state exam is all covered in that course. But when it comes to studying for your exam, this is a very comprehensive course, but the key word is comprehensive. And you don't need to be as comprehensive when it comes to studying for your exam. Rather, you want to get more specific, more and specialized, and that's where the Pass First Try exam prep tools come in. The Pass First Try exam prep tools really simplify down and help take the guesswork out of studying for your exam. And with the Pro membership, you'll be able to access both simultaneously. So you'll be able to work on your course and also review, using the simplified exam prep, what you've already studied. This can be your secret sauce, even if you've already taken a course in person, online, with another school, whatever the case may be. As long as you have a certificate of completion for that 63-hour pre-licensing from the last 2 years, you just need to focus on what you need to know to pass that state exam. And it is absolutely passable, but it's not a question of how smart you are. It's a question of, do you know the information that we primarily focus on in the exam prep tools that's originally taught in your pre-licensing course. But as I mentioned earlier, this is mostly laws and rules. Now, once you get your license, the next thing you've got to do is post-licensing. And this is a requirement by the state of Florida to renew your license. The good news is, though, there's no state exam, and it also gives us a lot more freedom of what we can teach you. So this course focuses a lot more on real-world business applications. Whereas up here, your primary focus is laws and rules. So laws and rules up here, whereas once you get your license, now you're allowed to learn more of that business planning information. And there's actually a section on business planning, on time management, on prospecting for clients, on establishing different lead sources, on working with sellers, working with buyers, presenting offers, so many different topics that are covered in this program. And you get a textbook included with this subscription plan. So whatever you select as your primary course, whatever the one is that you need, whether that's your course to get started, whether that's the exam prep tools or the post-licensing, you could go ahead and select that as your primary course, and you're going to get a textbook shipped out to you, no extra charge. That's included with that first month's payment there, that's $77. That'll get you the textbook, which that's already cheaper than what most of our textbooks are on their own, to let you know how much of a deal this actually is. And then also all your continuing education, you'll be able to complete that for as long as you ever need to do continuing education, which is basically every 2 years after you get your real estate license, every 2 years after your first renewal. Your first renewal, you'll do this post-licensing. Every 2 years after that, that's where you do the continuing education. But it's also these career development courses and these pro exclusives here as the reason why most of our students that are choosing a TSRE Plus membership are choosing the Pro plan. Because again, for that $30 extra, so for $77, not only do you have access to all of these Florida Real Estate Commission required courses, video on demand, 24/7, any time or place, as long as you need to be able to complete them, you'll have access to them. And even after you complete them, you'll have access to be able to use them as a reference tool, as reference material, whether it's for, again, those basic laws and rules, the business planning, or any of those career development, CE, continuing education updates that you need to know about. But these courses here, these have previously only been available, especially these ones right here. These have only been available to brokerages that we have worked with to be able to create training curriculums for their agents. So there's several brokerages that we provide the training for, and not necessarily FREC training, but specifically professional development, sales, marketing, how to be a good real estate professional. Because you would think you would learn some of that information here, and you absolutely do, but within the confines and parameters of the Florida Real Estate Commission, there's certain things that have to be taught, and there's also only so much that can be learned from any one course. And so that's why this catalog featuring these different topics from working with for sale by owners. So the market that we have right now, especially if you're a for sale by owner, you're probably struggling to be able to sell your property on your own. And especially being able to command the price point that you probably want as a seller. And so why a lot of sellers might try to do it on their own rather than just go right to listing with a real estate professional is because they think they're going to save money. But the reality is, and this is a statistic directly from the Association of Realtors, one of the many stats we cover in this FSBO Fundamentals course, is that a real estate professional typically can earn a seller anywhere from 10 to 30% more for a variety of different reasons. And really depending on your skill level is going to be the differentiator in whether or not you can get them as much as 30% or maybe just 10% more. But even if you're only getting them 10% more, if the cost of that 10% is 6%, they're still coming out 4% ahead. They're still coming out with more money in their pocket by working with you because you're able to get not just your cost covered, but then some. But being able to approach them psychologically, understanding where they're coming from, and also understanding how to have the conversation about appropriately pricing the property. All of that and more is what we talk about in this For Sale by Owner Fundamentals course. And so that's been used by a lot of real estate agents to be able to use that as an easy way to be able to generate listings. So you could absolutely go in there, do that training, and start prospecting to For Sale by Owners and start picking up easy listings. And once you have one of those listings, then you'll want to make sure you check out the Open House Essentials training, because the Open House Essentials training is going to help you maximize your open house. Because if you're a for sale by owner seller, you're just thinking about, I want the one buyer. And I've talked to tons of for sale by owner sellers who have told me to my face, oh no, I don't want to do an open house. I don't want all these people traipsing through my house. Because in their mind, they don't want all these people traipsing through their house. They just want the one buyer. And that's probably the biggest thing that overall results in for sale by owners getting less money, is because they're thinking small. Whereas you as a real estate professional, you should be thinking bigger than just one buyer. You want to bring every buyer so that way you can maybe entice a bidding war, which is a lot harder to do in a market like we have today to be able to get a bidding war. But through pricing a property appropriately and maximizing the amount of people seeing that property, you maximize the chances of getting a bidding war by presenting that property in its best light. There's a lot of little details that you'll want to go through our listing courses on to understand better on how to produce listings. And we have lots of new training and content that's going to be constantly added to this platform, to this library. But if you join today at just that $77 a month, even when the library expands, your membership fee will not. So right now, this is already the most comprehensive and best real estate education and training platform in Florida, but we're on a mission to make this the most comprehensive real estate education and training platform in the entire world. And so today you lock in that membership of $77 a month. You'll not have access just to these courses, but the entire catalog. You'll have access to how to turn renters into buyers. Like we talked about earlier, the rental market is red hot right now. So this is a great course to go into to be able to understand how to approach tenants, how to overcome objections that they might not even be telling you, such as maybe their credit, things that they're embarrassed to even open up about. How to follow up with them appropriately so you could stay in contact so when in 2 or 3 years they do decide to buy, they're doing it with you because they view you as their real estate expert and they couldn't think of doing it with anybody else. That's what you're learning about in the How Renters Become Buyers. With the Open House Essentials, you're learning how to be able to pick up more buyers because you're not just looking for buyers of that property that you're holding open. You want any buyer who is not represented because you could represent them. Or you could refer that business out to somebody who does have time or is more specialized to be able to represent them. And a typical referral fee is usually 20 to 30% of the commission. I've even signed one as high as 50% before. Half of the commission just for a referral of a lead. Those referral fees are negotiable. Again, typically 20 to 30% is much more common. And so now you're not getting the whole commission, but let's say it's 25%, you're getting a quarter of the commission just for making the connection while another agent goes and does all the work to actually service that client. And so referrals are another great thing that you'll want to do training. We've got more training to come specifically on those because that's something everybody can take advantage of, whether you're doing real estate just part-time, you've got a day job and you just want to be able to refer these leads out to agents who are doing this full-time, or you are a full-time agent, and again, it's maybe that you're too busy, you're not specialized for that client, or whatever the case may be, that you would now refer the client away rather than turn the client away. And one more thing on our featured here is the how to submit offers on the FAR bar as is. This is actually something that you could get for free by coming out to that career fair on March 22nd. So remember, FloridaRealEstateCareerFair.com. Go get registered because you show up, you'll get this course absolutely for free. But if you have a TSRE Plus Pro membership, you'll already have access to this. And not just one time, but for the life of your membership, you could go in here anytime that you need to review a certain clause in that contract. You know, this is designed to get you comfortable, to walk you through paragraph by paragraph, clause by clause, line by line, blank by blank, in helping you understand what you would put in this information, how it applies to the transaction, as well as giving you resources to be able to get more in-depth questions answered, such as the Florida Realtors Legal Hotline. So this is a really great, not just orientation to this FAR bar as is contract, which is the #1 most used contract, especially if we're talking residential single-family sales. This is almost the only contract that you use between buyers and sellers to do transactions. So knowing this is really essential to being able to earn commission, so you'll be able to go in there from day one with your pro membership to be able to access this course, the FSBO Fundamentals, the Open House Essentials, how renters become buyers. We've got some really great financial and mortgage training from instructor Robert Paredes. Mortgage 101 is included with this. The VA Loan Boot Camp is included with this. So there's all this training, and again, so much more to come. And again, you lock this in. So regardless of what we offer this pro plan in the future for, because of the expanded catalog, you'll be locked in at this membership rate right here of just $77 a month. You'll also have access to the TSRE community of all of our alumni in the discussion boards to be able to connect, to ask questions, and you could always reach out to our advisors specifically, 813-333-2676. Any questions you have, whether it's about the membership plans, it could be about the courses, it could be about a real estate career, or any of the headlines that I've shared with you today, 813-333-2676. You can also find more information online at tsre.us or get subscribed to one of those membership plans today at tsre.us/plus. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to us, 813-333-2676. That's about all the time that we've got for today, so we'll be back on Friday for State of Real Estate to help you expand and grow your real estate business even more. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will see you on Friday.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.